Good evening, welcome to Molineux on this Sunday. I don't know if this is going to be the longest video report ever, because I've got quite a few bits to do tonight, but Norwich have lost here 3-0 to Wolves, not to Molineux, to Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are clearly a very good side in a very good place. And even when they don't get into first gear until 20 minutes into a game, and then probably are still in about second gear by the second half, were far too good for Norwich this afternoon. And Norwich were fairly tepid in a lot of ways. It's so frustrating because that first 15-20 minutes they did have some really good opportunities. They had control of the game, but you knew they had control of the game because Wolves were sort of, their level was down here somewhere. And it's just this bit, and I don't know if it's a quality issue, seemingly like a quality issue. It might not just be that, but there's just this lack of urgency in terms of just grabbing the game, like a ruthlessness of just grabbing the game and going to impose yourself on it. I mean, ultimately then Wolves get up the other end probably for the second time in the game, score. Diogo Jota was very good this afternoon. They have, as I said, a lot of very good players. They're a really talented side, and Adama Traore only came on for the last 20 minutes or whatever it was, and was up playing sort of in a central role and sort of given a go to sort of do a few bits if he wanted to. Really, that was the level at which the game was at that point. But it's just that lack of urgency from Norwich, and that comes from issues that, of course, over many weeks their performance levels have generally been good, but they're clearly not scoring from open play. They're struggling for goals, and they do give away goals at the other end generally, and it's all coming home to roost really. And I think the only mitigation is the opposition this afternoon, because if you it's the mitigation being that Wolves have proven over a long period of time this season they were a very good side, and last season, and since they got promoted they are a very good side, but they only played at probably 50% today. So although the mitigation is Norwich have come to a Wolves side and been thrashed effectively 3-0, Wolves were at a sort of an bang average level of their own performance level to achieve that, and that is obviously hugely worrying. And it does fit, you get defining weekends, and I think the only thing that's going to stop this being a defining weekend is if there's another one around the corner, and it will have to happen probably quite quickly. Just little things like, we're now seeing really that in terms of Andre Duda and Lucas Rupp, I'm surprised Lucas Rupp is continually starting. I didn't get the impression he was brought in to continually start at this level. I got the impression that he'd be really good at sort of filling in some holes and give them some building blocks, and then look at how things look next season, whichever level Norwich are playing at. I wasn't expecting him to be a religious starter at this level. Andre Duda is, and has always been, I said it before, a player who can create and do something special, but won't necessarily run a game for 90 minutes. We're not seeing anything from him at the moment, and haven't done in a couple of games now. And Lucas Rupp is okay. He's doing an average job in a poor Premier League side. That's just the stats of how things are. So, I've seen players come in for Norwich at this level before, and you're like, okay, yeah, you can probably hold your own roughly. But what's he going? It's difficult now because there's this was quite a sapping defeat in terms of belief, and that becomes quite damaging unless you can do things that arrest it. And I think Norwich had done that, but then things like tonight some cuts are deeper, and this one's pretty deep. And how Norwich respond, and it's by no means impossible that they can respond, but they've got to give a huge reactionary difference to how they go about the game against Leicester, who of course are also a very good side, but in a wobbly moment themselves. Wolves, had put a lot of effort into their Europa League game in midweek and had less time to prepare for this, so they were all opportunities, but Norwich just could not take advantage of them. Leicester are in a possible wobble, but it's always at this level going to come down to whether Norwich can actually do what they need to themselves. And just in terms of defining weekends, of course, it's hard not to think about Daniel Farke's comments about Emi Buendia before the weekend, and they are what they are, and Emi didn't start today. And again, I haven't really had the issue with him starting per se, if the idea is that Lucas is there and things are a little bit tighter. But when we got to see Emmy within the hour, so half an hour for him to play, and he had some good moments. But I can understand that Daniel obviously wants to get more from Emmy, and there's obviously, being at the training ground every day, there's other stuff that we all don't see. But Daniel Varka's chief responsibility is to get the best out of his side and his players, and especially his best players, because they're so crucial to Norwich being progressive. And whatever the mechanisms and however he's going about it, the head coach has to get the best out of Emi Buendia between now and the end of the season, because if he doesn't, Norwich haven't really got enough quality to do anything without him, to be brutally honest. And that's obviously one of the things he's got to manage in terms of the situation. A few players coming back in the back line. I think I saw Daniel. It's difficult with the changes in the back line. People aren't in their rhythm and haven't played together, so you can see those defensive mistakes. But it was far too easy to score against Norwich today, and you did see their heads drop. Alex Tettey apologised for the performance, and he included himself in that. And, it's just very frustrating when you see a Norwich side who can move the ball quite well. But Wolves set up. Wolves knew exactly how to stop Norwich today, because they learned from the game at Carrow Road. They completely clogged the middle. Norwich got forced down the channel, the flanks each time, and generally there was no room there for them to create anything. And they don't cross the ball from there, so they've got to try and work it then to either cut it back or get to the byline and ping it back. It's quite easy to stop Norwich in that regard, and they really had such few chances, which again just makes those opening 15 minutes that more galling when you're playing against a side who are walking around for the first 15 minutes. So there we go. Doesn't sound like the injury situation is going to clear up particularly anytime soon. Obviously Sam Byram's out for the rest of the season, and El Hernandez is going to be out for the foreseeable future. Christoph Zimmermann is a doubt for Leicester. So they're going to have to go again, and I don't think it's going to be the easiest week at Colney, if I'm brutally honest. So we'll see how it pans out. Loads more reaction and stories, of course, over at The Athletic this week. If you don't subscribe, give a look to theathletic.com/NorwichPod, because that will give you 40% off if you do want to subscribe. So do that, because there's loads of great content, including Norwich content, of course, over there. And if you're watching on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter or YouTube, thanks for watching. Send us a comment, say what you like. I'll make sure I have a look and react as is necessary. But for now, I've got plenty of stuff to get on with. I'm going to go and get on with it. Have a lovely rest of your weekend and a good week. And remember, it's Friday night at Carrow Road for Leicester's visit, James Maddison's return. Hopefully that's only one sob plot. We'll see how it all goes. In the meantime, take care of yourselves.